heart of the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, a tropical paradise known for its vibrant culture, stunning beaches, and resilient people, was plunged into total darkness. On April 16, 2025, a catastrophic blackout swept across the entire island, leaving over 1.4 million people without power. It wasn't just another power outage. This was a full-scale collapse of the electrical grid, sparking outrage, fear, and a wave of political and economic fallout. This is the story of what happened, why it happened, and what it means for Puerto Rico's future. Just before 1 p.m. local time, residents across Puerto Rico began to notice the flickering of lights. Then, almost instantaneously, electricity vanished across all 78 municipalities. Hospitals, homes, businesses, and even the international airport, everything went dark. The cause? A reported failure in a major transmission line connecting two key power plants, Ecoelectrica and Costa Sur, both in the southern region of the island. The line failure triggered a cascading effect, knocking out power across the island's fragile grid in mere minutes. Within hours, social media lit up with posts from desperate citizens, families stuck in elevators, traffic at a standstill with non-functioning lights, and medical facilities scrambling to keep critical equipment running on backup generators. To understand why this blackout was so massive, we need to look at the deeper issue: Puerto Rico's power grid. Since Hurricane Maria devastated the island in 2017, Puerto Rico's electrical system has been on life support. Billions were pledged for repairs and modernization. But progress has been slow, riddled with bureaucracy, poor oversight, and controversy. The grid is aging, it's fragmented, and worst of all, it's unreliable. Even before the blackout, Puerto Ricans endured near-daily outages and voltage fluctuations. For many, electricity had become a luxury, not a guarantee. And into this mix came LUMA Energy. LUMA Energy took over power transmission and distribution in Puerto Rico in 2021, under a 15-year contract. The company promised modernization, investment, and reliability. But critics say it delivered the opposite. Since LUMA's arrival, outages have continued, and in some cases, worsened. The public has grown increasingly angry, accusing LUMA of poor management, slow response times, and lack of transparency. And now, after the island-wide blackout, that anger has reached a boiling point. Governor Jennifer González, who was vacationing at the time, returned urgently and labeled the blackout unacceptable. In a press conference, she made a bold announcement. She would begin the process of terminating LUMA's contract. But ending the deal is complicated. The contract is legally binding, and untangling it could take months, if not years. The blackout didn't just cut the lights. It paralyzed daily life. Hospitals relied on generators, but not all were prepared. Some reported rationing fuel to keep critical systems online. Dialysis patients, those on oxygen, and ICU wards faced the greatest risks. Water services were disrupted for over 300,000 residents, as pumps and filtration systems failed without power. Businesses, already recovering from inflation and economic strain, were forced to close, many losing thousands in spoiled goods and cancelled reservations. Hotels operating at near capacity for the Easter holiday scrambled to keep tourists safe and comfortable. And for the island's children, schools were cancelled indefinitely. For students already behind due to pandemic disruptions and past blackouts, it was another blow. This is not the first time Puerto Rico has gone dark. On New Year's Eve 2024, another large-scale blackout affected much of the island. That incident was blamed on equipment failure. Before that, blackouts occurred regularly, small and large, due to storms, high demand, and infrastructure failure. Since Maria, the phrase, "Che fue la luz," the lights went out, has become all too familiar in Puerto Rican homes. But what's different now is the sheer scale. This was not a single region or a short-term flicker. It was a full blackout of an entire US territory, an event that exposed just how vulnerable the system remains. Public reaction has been swift and fierce. Protests have erupted in major cities. Citizens are demanding accountability, not just from LUMA, but from their own leaders. Many ask, how, after billions of dollars in federal aid, is the grid still this fragile? Puerto Rico's political landscape is already complicated, with tension between statehood advocates, independence supporters, and those favoring the current Commonwealth status. The blackout has become a rallying cry for systemic change, both in energy and governance. Within 24 hours, power was restored to about 30% of the island. Officials estimated that 90% would be reconnected within 48 to 72 hours. But full stability? That could take longer. In the meantime, engineers and crews are working around the clock, braving dangerous conditions to rebuild the grid. The U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has pledged to assist, and pressure is mounting on Washington to intervene more decisively. There's also renewed discussion about moving Puerto Rico toward a decentralized energy model, one based on solar, wind, and battery storage. Many believe the island's future lies in renewables, not just patching up a failing fossil fuel grid. The 2025 blackout was more than a power failure. It was a wake-up call. It exposed the fragility of an essential service, the consequences of poor oversight, and the resilience of the Puerto Rican people. Families banded together, neighbors shared generators, and communities found light in each other. But resilience alone is not enough. Puerto Rico needs investment. It needs infrastructure that works. And most importantly, it needs leaders willing to protect the future of the island, not just patch the problems of the past. As the lights slowly return to Puerto Rico, the questions remain. Will this finally be the turning point? Will change come? Or will the island continue living on the edge of darkness? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Puerto Rico deserves better.